Today is Saturday, December 2nd, 2023. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 45, Week 10.
2 shows a week. Got that recap on Wednesday right after the episode happens. We get done watching it, I would say normally, within 30, 40 minutes we're recording?
Yep.
And then on Saturdays, we hand the reins over to the super fans. Check in, see what they thought about it. We've done the big strokes and made some observations, maybe some predictions, although not always on Wednesdays in the recap. Our predictions are pretty lightweight at that point.
Well, especially this week, I was still processing.
Yes. What did we do? What did we do? We got the podcast out, we got the recap done, turned around, sat down, and watched it again.
We watched it, yeah. It's
like, what is going on with this?
Geez, what is with us?
I didn't think about it. What was with us? I was more like, what is happening here?
Yeah, like I said, I still had a lot to process, but...
Yes, and that's why we gather the feedback on Saturdays to get these other takes on it. People see things we don't. People come at things from different walks of life and different perspectives on... and different people they're cheering for, or different people they are cheering to win because of the fantasy league, which skews all our perceptions and expectations.
It absolutely does.
Yeah. So it's good to get the different takes on things, and that's what Saturday's all about. That's why we have the listener feedback show. How many folks do we have this week? 20. 20. Okay, so we got a full show to dive into. Is anything we need to cover on this, what is this, overcast, dreary Saturday here in Northern California?
Yes, it is kind of dreary out there. But no, we're no business.
Okay, let's kick it off with Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Well, first, hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving long weekend. This was an awesome episode. Delicious, baby. So I'm going to let out a great big woo! And this is for you listeners. Hey, this is Bruce, Uncle Bruce to be exact. I don't have an idol. I gave it a Kelly. I had to let that out, Joanne and Stacy. Uncle Bruce's deep, goofy voice, and it finally backfired on him. You knew with Katura it wasn't going to work. Even with Jake, who was on the fence, wasn't buying it either. Emily, I give her a lot of credit working with those women, especially the Reba women, and then even Drew and Austin with the split vote. What a crazy episode. And guess who Bruce joins? He joins James Clement. We know James had 2 idols when he went home. Ozzy, Jason, Brandon from back in South Pacific. A whole bunch that went home with idols in their pockets. Man, oh man. Insane. Clearly Bruce did not see that coming, and I give all those guys credit, including Emily, too. I thought she orchestrated it really well. Good stuff. But again, it was a missed opportunity. The Reba guys are taking it. Austin won immunity. It would have been great to split up the D and Julie duo, getting rid of D. I'm telling you guys, the light's at the end of the tunnel. I really believe D is going to win now, because no one sees it. Emily might be the only one that could do it, because, you know, Julie is a right-hand woman there, and clearly Drew and Austin, I think they're brainwashed with it, and even if they try to pull in Katura, Jake, Emily, it might be too late now. That's the only chance in my opinion, but hey, I'll take this blind side. You gotta love it. Now, the season, I think, has redeemed now, despite those two nutty quitters from the beginning of the season there. I'm enjoying it. I think we're in for a great finish. Dee is the odds-on favorite to win. Julie has a chance because she's likable and motherly. Emily is right up there with Dee, I feel like, if she can work it. Katura, I don't think she got a chance. Austin is good. He got the advantages, but I don't know. He hasn't really done much, I feel like, from a strategy or working the jury. Drew, I don't know. Drew's been goofy, snarky, had some good one-liners. I don't know what to think of Drew, really, if he has it. And Jake, I feel like, is the next Bruce at being a GOAT. 0 votes for Jake. I could see him making it to the end and getting nothing, even if he wins a challenge. This is a great episode, guys. Gotta hear what Bruce has to say. Obviously, he felt comfortable, and too bad we don't get Ponderosa clips, because I know Kelly and my homegirl Kendra loved it, which was awesome. But I'll check it out, guys. Take care. Woo.
Whoa, thanks, Pete. Bruce's interviews had a few interesting tidbits in them. Sounded like Ponderosa was tough. He was not exactly welcomed.
Really?
Nor did he have a super pleasant time. I think he had some answering to do. So I think he probably got grilled when he got there.
Wow.
He did not get a warm welcome.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I
you
know
could see
he's
it.
annoying and all the things.
You could see
and
it building.
They've just been waiting to tell him, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that could have been
But
part of
still.
what was unpleasant for him. I just did not
Yeah.
get the sense from hearing him describe it. And he didn't go into detail. He didn't name names. I mean, he said he spoke to Kelly and Kendra and
I'm
Caleb.
sure he
and-
spoke to Kelly.
Yes.
I'm sure Kelly had a lot to say.
To share.
And he wanted to know why she said those things.
Yes.
Well, and I don't know what all went on, but I'm sure she had plenty to say, and Kendra too, and obviously
Certainly
Caleb.
Caleb.
Yeah. But
Bruce said that he was a victim of the edit in many occasions, that if you had seen the full front and middle and back of some of those scenes where he seemed so overbearing, it would have made more sense.
Well, I believe that to a degree, especially from Bruce's perspective. So I can see how he would see that. I don't know whether we would have or not, because we didn't get to see it. But we do know that the editing alters things. But they do show reality in what they show. So, you know.
Well, and when you see someone's reaction and it seems in sync with what the edit
what
seemed to
they're
be
showing,
telling, like
yes.
Caleb was very clear. He was so surprised how he had managed to survive 35 years without all the extra supervision, and that was one of the...
I think it was 28 years, but okay.
Nah, Caleb's in his 30s. Anyway, to the point is that he had some issues that were significant with Bruce.
Well, that's why I said I've been feeling sorry for Bruce, thinking about he must have had a really hard time at home watching the season. That can be really hard on your psyche.
I did get some of that sense, but he seemed like he was letting it roll off, although...
Yeah, but he would.
We gained the perception that he might be a little more fragile than he lets on. He might be a little more susceptible to some of those things.
Who is it?
Yeah.
I mean, really.
So, and the big question, did he have that talk with his daughter and his wife when he got back? Am I overbearing and all that?
You asked me what I thought, and I said, no, he didn't.
And he said he did not in the interviews. But... And he didn't say in my defense, but at least I don't think he did. But basically what he said was, I thought long and hard about it, and I have been working to be an active listener. And by the way...
With his daughter.
Well, with everyone, he said.
Oh, okay.
With everyone and everything, I have transitioned to being a more active listener.
Well, and I hope that's true, and that, there's growth from everything.
That didn't sound like growth. That sounded like a dodge, but maybe. Let's hope.
Yeah, but come on,
let's hope the best.
It's publicity, so does he really want to spill his gut to everyone?
Well, the thing is,
it's a sensitive issue for him.
Yeah, exactly. It seemed like it was a challenge.
I can't fault him for that.
When you say you're going to do it, and then you don't do it, and then you got this other story. It didn't play as well.
Yeah, but he said that in the moment because he was so hurt and shocked. I mean, that sends
Evidently
you,
not enough to follow through, but yeah.
it sends you into a bad place sometimes, and I kind of get that. That's why I've been feeling bad for him, that he's had to relive the worst part of his experience and
Yes.
not the best always. So
Yeah,
But
or
anyway.
that I've always thought that could be one of the most challenging things to go through, is to go out there and have everyone tell you you're not who you thought you were.
Oh, that's hard any time. Out there, at home,
Yeah.
out in any place.
Well, it's easy to go through life and never figure that out. Your lives aren't normally under the microscope the way they are with the filming and then getting the direct feedback from people like that.
Okay, your 3 minutes are up.
Okay, moving on. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. I hope that everyone enjoyed this week's episode, although I imagine the feedback this week is going to be a little bit mixed. I think a lot of us were expecting and hoping for somebody to make a big move in the game against the Reba 4 Alliance, and of course we didn't get that, but for me the disappointment runs even a little bit deeper, because that wasn't my main expectation. I did expect that they were going to try to flush Bruce's idol this week, but I really, really expected that Bruce was going to know enough to play his idol.
Yes.
So I had Bruce as a safe point this week, and then just to add insult to injury, I had Jake as my vote off this week, which I would have got if Bruce had just done his job and played his idol. So I was double disappointed with only getting 3 points this week in the fantasy league, but that's the name of the game. What can you do? But I didn't feel like it was a great episode for really anyone in the game. Like, Emily won immunity. I think that was great. But is taking out Bruce really the biggest move in the game at this point in time? It just felt inconsequential. And I think that being the week that it was with the 4-4, this was the week to make that happen. And now you're going to have to depend on Reba sort of taking themselves apart, which could happen. I think it'll be Dee and Julie who do that if it does happen, but we'll see. I expect that Reba's going to stay tight and that probably Jake's going to go home next week to Julie's delight, but we'll see what happens. And Katura this week, like, it was great to see her overcome her fear at the water challenge, but sometimes it feels like she didn't come on to Survivor to win. She just came on to make sure that a returning player didn't win, so
Right.
I guess mission accomplished for her, and she can go home next week if Jake wins immunity. But anyway, that's it for my feedback this week. I am excited to see how next week goes, and hopefully we see the game get shaken up a little bit, but I don't see it playing out like that. But I look forward to hearing all the other fans' feedback, and that's it for me. You guys just take care.
Thanks, Robert.
Well, we were talking about that, and I was saying I don't know that I've ever seen every single person on the jury and left in the game that was so elated to have one person voted off. All 3 of the jury members were just woohoo and carrying on over
Right.
there, and everybody cheering, and I found almost hurtful for poor Bruce. I mean, did he deserve to go? Sure, but I mean, and the other side of that is we both were a little bit disappointed in Emily for not, and everybody else for their obsession almost with getting Bruce out, even if it wasn't the best thing for the game. I don't know where Katura thinks she's going now.
Yeah.
You know, he would have been the perfect goat.
Yes. Well, and it would have been such a better story if she would have had this contention, she had wrestled with it,
Yeah.
and then realized, oh, no, you know what? This guy I'm having all this trouble with is actually the key to me winning. What can I do
Yeah.
to help turn that to my advantage? That's asking way too much.
Yeah, I think I was a little disappointed in everyone's strategizing this week, because I just thought, well, if you keep Bruce around, there's always going to be somebody who's just chomping at the bit to target him, and so there's always somebody in front of you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. I was just disappointed somewhat.
Totally get where Robert was coming from. Thanks,
Yep.
Robert. Next up, we got an email from Ed in Milwaukee. Joanne and Stacy, I have listened to every episode of your show since Gabon, but this is my first feedback this season. I'm part of the minority that does not like 90-minute episodes. I don't have time to prepare and eat dinner prior to the episode. I I live in the Central Time Zone, and it is too distracting to try and watch the show while I'm cooking and eating. As a result, I'm recording the show and watching it later, but by the time I watch the show, I am in danger of falling asleep in the lazy boy. The longer episode also makes it harder to watch The Amazing Race. I got a pro tip for you there. Watch The Amazing Race the next day.
That's what we do. Stacy does what he'll watch Survivor again, but he don't want to watch Amazing Race.
Well, and so much of The Amazing Race is just do over, as different people do the same challenge you've already seen.
Yeah, I know, baby.
It's not as suited to 90 minutes.
I see. Okay.
I get where Ed's coming from. We've heard this from Drew too. The logistics, depending on how full things are, how much time you actually have to watch it.
Well, here's the trick: is you either stop and get takeout on the way home, or you cook.
Not everybody can afford that, especially these days.
But if you cook enough the night before,
there you go.
Then you have leftovers.
Meal prep.
And so you're prepared for Wednesday night.
Okay, Ed, continue. Survivor is number one. Good job, Ed. You got your priorities straight. But longer episodes makes it harder to watch both shows. I hate, and you're always in danger of getting it spoiled, depending on how active you are on
that is true.
Social media stuff. Ed says, I hate Pagonging, therefore I am hoping that the Reba alliance can be broken up. The remaining 3 non-Rebas are cannon fodder, waiting either to be used by Reba or eliminated. For this reason, it was my hope that Jake would have won immunity. I thought that him having immunity, along with Bruce having an idol, would have put pressure on the others to take a run at Reba. For this plan to work, it might have forced a tie-breaking rock draw, but such a bold move might have been necessary for any non-Reba member to get ahead. I agree with Joanne. I don't understand the logic of some cast members. Couture seems more interested in getting rid of Bruce rather than strategizing how to win.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bruce didn't know what to think of that either. It's like with her whole season being defined that way. She needs to work with Bruce to win. Sometimes it is necessary to work with someone you don't like in order to get ahead. Bruce is the GOAT that you want to take to the final. Couture should have used him the way Boston Rob used Philip Shepard. And what was Bruce thinking? Even if he believed that the Emily plan to blindside Julie was going to happen, there was no reason for him not to play his idol. He's playing scared, or not playing scared.
Yeah,
he should have been playing scared.
He should have been playing scared.
Bruce's attempt to lie about not having the idol was a worthy attempt. I wonder if Reba would have believed it if Couture had not spilled the beans to the girls at the retreat. I'd say there was a good chance,
they would.
Given how
Drew reacted.
Drew and Austin.
Yeah.
This is another example of Couture thinking about revenge instead of thinking strategically. I leave you with a couple of questions and observations. Did Julie come close to spilling the beans about being a lawyer when she was reading her loved one's letter to the girls at the retreat? I don't remember that.
I didn't catch that.
No. I've latched onto her brother talking about how she was her own hero. Mm-hmm. I thought that there was a pause when her brother's letter mentioned how much she has accomplished. I seemed to notice that attorneys Couture and Julie both nodded their heads when Jake was talking on how hard
they did.
It was to be a lawyer. Yep.
They absolutely did. But I thought, in my mind, oh yeah, they know what he's talking about. But that people will take their nodding, as, yes, we understand. Yes, that's
commiserating.
Tough. Yes.
Yeah, acknowledging.
Yes.
Yeah. I am losing track of Austin's idols and when they expire. But is it true that if he still has both idols,
he can secure a spot in the final 5?
There we go.
And yes, he could secure a spot to the final
4.
Or he's got to get through. He's talking about if he played one.
Oh, this next time?
Yes. And then the following one. He can play one of them till final 6. So if he happens to win immunity tonight, he could actually get final 4.
In the next episode, yeah.
Yes, because he's got the 2 idols. If he plays them both for himself, then one has to be played by final 6, and the other one has to be played by final 5. So if he doesn't get sent home this week, which would be one reason for his tribe to turn on him, is to get those idols out of play because he's guaranteed Final Four at that point if he plays them.
Well, we don't know that he still has both of them right now.
Well,
and we
that's
don't know
true.
we don't know which one he gave to Julie. So somebody else mentions that, so we'll wait to talk about that in more depth later.
Oh, okay.
All right, good job, Ed. Thank you. We answered his questions, right?
I believe so.
Yep. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California with my survivor feedback. Okay, I just want to say I went and played bold like Stacy this week. I put a save point on Bruce because I thought there was absolutely no way that guy was not going to play his idol, knowing his back was up against the wall and he would be there for one more week. And then next week I could put him as the vote out. Why did you not play your idol, Bruce? But this is what I want to say. Watching Bruce go home with the idol in his pocket and seeing Katora so happy, seeing the rejoicing on everybody's face that he was too arrogant to think they were gonna vote him out when the writing was all over the wall. Everybody wanted Bruce out. Worth losing a save point. 100% worth losing a save point. So, played bold, got burned. Don't care. I don't think they're going to vote Jake out. I think Jake is the perfect GOAT. This is my prediction for Jake. I think Jake is going to go into the final, and I think he's going to be the no-vote third place super GOAT because nobody's going to vote for him. And if everybody starts playing smart, and talk like Jake, play wicked smart like Jake, nobody's going to vote for him. They should realize, we got to take this guy to the end. He'll sit with us in the final three and nobody's going to vote for him. Now, it's really fun to see that the Bello 3 are still in lockstep. It was wonderful to see Emily and Katora's calculations. But yeah, that was all Emily saying. Emily has such a feather in her cap now because she orchestrated getting Bruce out. So I love seeing her turn around and her story arc and seeing how far she's come. I love Katora. Obviously, she's my USB. I love her. She still has not been mentioned as a possible vote out. I really hope she makes it into the final. I hope she wins. I kind of feel like if she makes it into the final, because she's my USB, I might put my order that D comes in first and hedge my bets because I feel like D could take it over Katora, but I don't know. It's also exciting. We'll see what happens. I love Jake and his Boston accent, particularly because this weekend my boyfriend from Boston is visiting me. Right now, I am wearing a sweatshirt that says, Wicked Smart, Boston. And I almost picked Jake as my USB just because I loved his accent and it reminded me of the sweet guy I'm dating. But I think it was Randy who said, no, pick a different USB on the Facebook page. So thank you, Randy. As the game has progressed, I see that, no, Jake's not going to win, even though I really enjoy listening to him talk. No bike ride in Napa today. I'm going to take my boyfriend up there and basically just show him where I go on the weekends and go get some barbecue. I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm having a super fun weekend and getting down to the wire, spreading out those points. We'll see what happens. Totally worth voting Bruce safe, losing a safe point, watching him walk out with an idol in his pocket. Couldn't be better. Thank you guys. Thank you for all that you do. Can't wait to hear other people's thoughts and predictions, and have a great Saturday. Bye.
Good job, Rebecca. Great TV moment.
Totally agree. Was worth losing the safe point just because the part that was you didn't play the idol. I was just like Rebecca, certain that he would. No question in my mind.
All right.
Please.
I am not convinced that he's a no-vote GOAT now. You know why?
Why?
Because I saw pity in Kelly and Kendra, and they were responding to him. I think he could actually swing a pity vote or two. And we know Kendra's got a soft spot for him because she was there when he passed out and got the shakes the first time and was worried about him. That's when she sort of changed her mind about him.
They may have to make him walk over the coals before they would be to the point where they could throw him a pity vote, though. So if they didn't get to dress him up one side and down the other beforehand, they couldn't do the pity vote.
You're talking about Jake, right?
No, I'm talking about I thought you were talking about Bruce.
No, that's why I said Jake.
No, I thought you were talking about Bruce. I was like,
I realized you and I weren't tracking the same way. No, they had a pity reaction to him. They're like,
to Jake. Oh, yeah, sure.
Like that.
Well, he is kind of pitiful because he's just so lost so much of the time, and he's so genuinely frustrated and hurt.
Yeah.
And
it's
he
like Owen in season 43.
Big moves.
He did.
Just can't make it happen.
And they didn't happen, and now he's paying the price.
And nobody's helping him, and
Right.
they won't work with him. And I would think that was terribly frustrating when you want to play and nobody will play with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see little Jake on the playground.
Yeah.
And you're watching.
Well,
and
that
he didn't know what to do. No one wants to play.
Nobody wants to play with me. That is an awful feeling, and I think everyone can relate to that at some point.
Yep. That's why I think he might get a pity vote now. That reaction this last episode starting to swing me the other way.
I don't think he's even going to get there, but that would be a long shot for me. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from Nora.
Hi, Stacy and Joanne. It's Nora. Okay, so I don't think it had to do with Thanksgiving, the low number of people calling in. It had probably much more to do with JSFL results. A lot of people voted with their hopes instead of accepting the reality that this was a pagonging. So I think the results in JSFL made us disappointed. Okay, I want to say something real quick about how deeply I was touched by Katura's situation. Because what people don't realize about panic attacks, which I had, is that you can be super intelligent and you can be well into your 30s, as I was, and I'd experienced in my life maybe 3 or 4 panic attacks by then, but I went to a hospital. I was teaching in a slum in another country and living in a different slum, and I had panic attack. It was probably my 4th of my life. I was in my 30s, and I ended up going to the hospital and being told by the doctors, no, it's a panic attack. Oh, okay. Oh, I've had 3 of these. You don't know what it is till very late. There's very few people who are able to say, oh, I've experienced my first panic attack and I put a name on it and all that. Once you know what it is, you can totally eliminate it. And I did too. There's books in the library on, in the self-help section, mind you, but they totally work. You don't put yourself in certain situations after that. You make it your highest priority to get rid of it. But I was going to say I was so deeply touched by Katura's situation. I felt personally that if you've cut off your mother for a year and the producers had you a letter from her, it might make you happy for 2 seconds, but it undermines your ability when you have maybe a concomitant. In my case, it was agoraphobia. It looks like in her case, it was a concomitant small case of acrophobia, fear of heights. So if you get those sort of whoopsie, I also had fear of heights too. But if you have a thing like that destabilizes you, like fear of heights, and your hands are really shaking, like she described the sweating and shaking of the hands, it doesn't take much to throw you off and undermine your belief in, am I a winner? Am I a winner, or am I just a lucky sod who went through the hoops and got in? This is a big issue in Survivor. If those of us like yourselves are huge fans. And we can recognize who's the actual winner type and who is just kind of lucky to be there. And it's insecurity, right? And I think her mom, reading the letter from the mom, and then the fear of heights, I think it's a super insecurity making situation, and I'm not happy with the producers for doing that. Thank you so much for everything you do. Love you guys.
Thanks, Nora. I do hope they update their process to help make sure that kind of thing doesn't happen again. If someone's in a no contact situation and a family member or some misguided person in production slips that letter in there, however it happened.
Well, with all the questions they ask ahead of time, you would think
they would have known,
they
right?
would say, give us a list of acceptable people to receive letters from while you're out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they ask you everything else. And so that should be one of the typical questions. And if you say, no, I don't want anything from this person, then you don't get anything from that person.
Yeah, and then the flip side is if you get something, then don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
There's another side to that, too.
Yeah, that would be hard, though, not to. But, okay.
It very likely could have been the trigger for the other one. And maybe it was thalassophobia. Fear of deep waters. Thanks, Nora. Next up, we got an email from Mary in Maryland.
I've missed the cutoff for feedback the past few weeks, but have enjoyed listening to everyone else's thoughts. It was another packed episode with lots to think through. I'm enjoying that the 90 minutes allows for so many more elements to be included. There has been so much emotion from the players these past few weeks. I genuinely felt for how low Emily and Bruce were feeling in previous weeks, and this week really felt for Jake and Katura. I'm not a big fan of Bruce, but I did wonder what he must have thought as he watched this episode from home. Jake, too. Mm-hmm. Even understanding that it's a game that you volunteered for, seeing on screen how you were manipulated when you thought you were forming relationships has to hurt on some level. I, too, was confused about how the plan had come together to vote out Bruce and why he decided not to play his idol. I'm hoping that listening to everyone else's feedback might give a bit more clarity. I hope we learn more about how that all happened on next week's episode. I loved that Emily won the reward challenge. I'm seeing her as a strong contender to win, although not sure what the path to the final 3 might be. I very much dislike the boys' night montage. I am sick of the old trope about males sitting around farting and burping and generally acting gross. I live with several of them myself, and they never act like that. Listening to Jeff's podcast, that's because you're there.
Yeah. I'm glad you said it.
Listening to Jeff's podcast, it sounds like that section was his idea, and he's very proud of it.
He was.
I have no idea who will be voted off next week. Jake seems like too easy a vote at this point, as he's not factoring into anyone's plans. Katura seems like an outlier as well, so voting her off wouldn't have much of an impact. Maybe Emily will engineer a blind side of one of the Reba members and try to gain control, although that's looking less and less likely as they continue voting off everyone but Reba's.
Yep.
Your voices kept me company on my long flight to and from sunny California a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
It was fun to feel like I had some friends along with me. Thanks to everyone who contributes and to Joanne and Stacy for putting it all together for us. Well, you are very welcome, Mary, and thank you for your feedback. And Bruce said the reason he didn't play it is that Emily and the others that he thought he was aligned with made him so comfortable.
He did say, I was listening in the EW interview really close, listening in the parade interview really close, and it wasn't there. And then I got to the Gordon Holmes interview, and he gave credit to Emily. He said that she was the one that really got him to that point. So,
of feeling the safety and...
Yes, so he was willing to not play it. So she does get credit.
Well, and she had an inkling that he might not.
And that's what she was pushing for. So
yeah.
Paid off.
That was kind of her,
I'm still
her
like,
gut reaction.
Okay, good job. You got Bruce out.
You got Bruce out, but what else did you get?
Yeah.
Is that really the biggest thing on the resume?
Was that the best path?
But then when you see how everyone reacted, maybe she knows so much more than we do.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you make the priority great TV moments, when your number one driving goal is to make great TV moments, whether it's the montage or getting this reaction or the awesome does not count that happened with Caleb, the record breaker, that kind of thing, we might be missing out on some actual substance, the meat. The great TV moments in a lot of cases can be more like the outer candy shell as opposed to the ooey gooey, the really good part on the inside, the substance.
And if Bruce was able to share with the jury while he was on it, that he credited Emily for his security and the reason he didn't play it, then she does get credit.
Right.
And it might be what tips it in her favor. So what do we know? I just thought, what are you doing? But,
yeah. Or please do more.
But then when I think about all the reactions, it's like, has that ever happened that way? I don't know. That's just for everyone, it's like, oh, geez, let me leave the building now.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay.
Thanks, Mary. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joe and Stacey and Towards 5 fans. Hope everyone is well. I'm doing a really early one as I am off to Adelaide this weekend. So let's start from the beginning. I think the Drew and Julie scene felt manufactured. I have to agree with you there, Stacey, but then I have to agree with Joanne looking fast forward to Tribal Council, and it just looked like that Julie manufactured that, and it just came across with a lot of pity and disdain from the jury. It was obvious to me that she was just trying to buy jury members at that point, and I don't know if the seeds will work there, so I guess it's a wait and see, but I just don't like how she played that. It looked quite obvious. I really thought Emily was going to make a move this week. It was a red herring, obviously, but the discussions that she had with the Bello 3, I really thought that she could do something, because I thought in her head, I think she would have realised they've been kind of building it up in the last couple of weeks, where she's been questioning her relationship with the two boys, but unfortunately they're tied with Julie and Dee, and she hasn't seen that completely yet. She's talked about it. So in retrospect, the move fell flat. And out of the 3 Bello, I think Katura is the least malleable in wanting to make a move. I thought we saw Bruce trying to mend fences with that mistruth scene. I think the effort was there, but Katura's game is so scattershot and it's so poorly crafted. I say that because if she makes the final 3, she's going there as a GOAT, right? But even a GOAT has something that they usually want to leverage upon. They have like a story that they think is good. I don't even think she's got anything to present. Her early and mid-game resume is just so bad. And I thought, fast forward, that Emily taking the women created a great narrative, and I thought the immunity challenge was really fun, unique, enjoyed it. But Katura's panic attack was quite startling, but, props to her, confronted it and got around to it. And then Poe's challenge, I think Bruce could have handled the moments better this season. I think there's a social player, a good player in there. Physically, he's great. I think he knows what a good player looks like, but then he kind of poops all over it with single mistakes. And those mistakes are just built and built and built this season. I think this episode culminated in that. He spoils a broth, a good-looking broth, with like one little mistake. Overall, I think I'm really confused this week. I don't know if it was poor gameplay again or poor storytelling by production. I think I'm right in saying that we have like a select few, like maybe 3 players who I think are like really good at playing this game, who paint themselves in my eyes as unlikable though. Yet they're playing from a position of like safety and comfort, and they're just making really easy moves. And then we have a bunch of players who at many points have had multiple opportunities to overthrow this Reba power block, who are actually really poor and have no agency in the game. So this episode felt like a net negative move for everyone in my eyes. I think Reba were out of loops today, looked bad, and then Bello plus Emily made the worst move possible for them. And I don't think that they can take credit for a move like this. I know Emily's going to try to play across it. So this is where I think fans, and then internally in game, I wonder how the move looks in game as opposed to us. And I think that's where they have to bridge this. So yeah, we'll see. Thanks for all that you do. Cheers.
Thanks, Shaheen. Yeah, that really is it. Even though we've gotten the extra time, we're still not so clear on what the social perceptions are. Even though we get the extra tribe time, that part seems to be missing. You get little bits and pieces, nibbles, but that was like before. So if you're not careful, it could end up feeling hollow again at the end.
I don't think Emily believes they're as close to them. She's had her suspicions, but at least Emily could go either way with whatever group. At least to a certain point.
She's had that. Katura's been trying to get that. Jake's desperate to have that. Thought he might have had it, but then he got a wake-up call from Drew. You have no allies. Ow.
That's harsh. Ow.
Yeah. Nobody wants to play with you. Go away, kid.
Oh, there's nothing much more painful than things that bring out
the childhood insecurities.
Yes, yeah. Exactly.
Definitely.
It's
all right.
Ooh.
Okay, let's check in with Bianca and Hayden.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey and Survivor fans. It's Bianca
and Hayden
from Adelaide.
Just a quick shout out to Shahin, who you said you were going back home to Adelaide for the weekend, so I hope you're having a good time. We've actually headed over to Sydney for the weekend for a little holiday, so we're having a good time over here.
And we hope that everyone who celebrated Thanksgiving had a lovely one. Okay, back to the episode. And that was a really exciting one. I really enjoyed it.
What'd you like about it?
Well, it actually was quite an emotionally driven episode. Quite a few people had their moments. But I was really happy for Emily to win that reward challenge, and gosh, it would have been a really tough choice for her picking who to go with, and I don't know, I think it was a good choice picking all the women because that was nice having their girls' night out, and then it was hilarious with the boys and that montage.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
I really like the music that was playing in the background for that.
Yeah, that was so funny, and especially like Jake with his flippers and he was walking and just the fart and belching, it was just, gold.
Yeah, the editors seemed to be having a lot of fun with this episode. I thought it was really, really edited well, really polished.
Hayden, who do you think's playing well at the moment? Who do you enjoy?
I'm not really impressed by anyone strategically at the moment. I think Austin is showing glimpses of what he can probably do. He seems like he's pretty switched on, and I think he's going to be a really smart player, but he just hasn't really been tested yet. He hasn't really needed to play. So he's done some really clever things, I think, but I think when it comes to it, he'll probably be a really strong player. And Julie I like, and if I had remembered to change my USB, it would have been her. So I'm really glad that she didn't go.
Yeah, I think that it was... I quite was impressed with Emily as well for thinking of that, but I'm so relieved that Julie didn't get voted out because I am really enjoying watching her and she just seems so sweet and lovely. So I'm also gunning for Emily. I think that she is getting a winner's edit, and I kind of thought that from the beginning in the first episode. So every week I'm like, see, she's doing it. So enjoying her evolve as well.
Who do you want to go next?
I feel like it'll... Oh, I don't know. Do you think they'll mix it up? I want to say...
I don't think they will. I think it'll be predictable. I want to see Dee go, but I think it'll be predictable and it'll just be the rest of Bello.
Yeah, I think Bruce, unfortunately, seemed too hard to work with and really did put lots of cracks into that tribe, unfortunately. So, all right. Well, thanks so much for everything you do, Joanne and Stacey. Looking forward to the next episode and hearing from you next time. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Bianca. Thanks, Hayden. Good job.
We hope you're feeling better now, Hayden.
Yeah, sounds better. They're good enough to go on holiday, so must be.
Must be.
There's an extra video with Austin. Hayden was talking about Austin. And what I found interesting about it was Austin was so determined to beat Bruce at this next immunity challenge, and
so
you got the sense,
get rid of him. Yeah,
you got the sense that he had been trying really hard, and he was frustrated because he hadn't.
He wasn't.
He was describing his respect for Bruce and all the work that Bruce had put in when it came to the immunity challenge, and he was just desperate to beat him.
He earned that. He worked really hard to condition himself.
So in a way, I thought, because I'd been wondering, is Austin pulling it? Is he, trying to not look like a big physical threat? And it turns out, no, he just didn't have it.
He just
Bruce bettered him.
Outlast him.
Those previous 2 times, no problem.
Yeah. So, and I'm pretty sure Austin was pretty close to dropping too, when Bruce let go.
Yeah. Bruce said that his pinky had gone to sleep and he couldn't feel part of his hand, and then he slipped and then it was over. Yeah, good stuff. All right, next up, got an email from Yazz in Northern California. Hello, Joanne and Stacey. Well, after having Bruce going the last 4 weeks, this week I decided to put Jake as my vote out. And so, of course, Bruce was finally voted off.
Of course.
We hear that story a lot. It was an interesting episode. I felt we saw a lot of real, raw emotion from a number of players, which was touching. Emily winning the reward, her response and ability to feel proud of herself for this accomplishment was so lovely to see. I also felt for Julie and Drew when they were talking on the beach. I know, Stacey, you were not sure if Drew was being genuine. I think he was. I do agree with you both about Mama J. You take on that role, and backstabbing your alliance adds an extra layer of betrayal. I feel like we see that with both Kelly and Kendra. Yep. Especially Kendra. She seems to be still quite bitter. Well, and the thing is, for us, we're getting a dose every week, but for them, it's just been 2 days for Kendra.
Yeah.
And 3 days for Kelly.
Yeah.
In that regard, because that episode was all in one day.
Yeah, it's not a whole week apart. They haven't
Or 2 weeks
had
and-
enough time to process yet. And probably, they've had a lot to say to each other about it. So to keep it alive.
Yes, continues. I also really feel for Jake. He clearly has not ever gotten his feet under him in this game and realizes it. Got to be hard knowing millions of people are watching him flail around, especially given his occupation.
True.
Like you, I was confused about why Emily feels like she is responsible for the Bruce vote out, and not sure she should be proud of this move, even if it was her doing. I don't understand why Emily and Bruce, Keturah and Jay, would not have tried hard to get out one of the Reba before. Mm-hmm. This was the last vote where they could break them up without getting one of the old Reba to flip. They could have all put their vote on any one of Reba and had Bruce played his idol and gotten one of them out and then had the power and the numbers. I think this was a real strategic error on their part. I suspect Jake, Emily, and Keturah are going to be picked off now. I really enjoyed the guys' night montage. Surprisingly, my 11-year-old son thought it was stupid, which made me laugh. He said, only kids like to burp and fart. Grown men don't do that. He has a lot to learn, obviously. Yes, he does. Well, that is all I have for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy. Thank you, Yazz. Good stuff.
Bianca said something I was going to comment on, and was how sweet Julie was. Mm-hmm. I thought Julie does have that sweet side and that persona, and everybody really seems to be pulled in by that. But I would bet you money that she is tough as nails in a lot of areas of her life. And if I were going to have an attorney, I would hire her
to handle your estate.
Oh yeah, because I think she would know her business and be really on the money with everything and no messing around, but yet personable and sweet and make you feel like I really care about you and your estate.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
Well,
I get that side of her too. I don't know if anybody else does.
The key is always trying to figure out what your strengths are or what you have to work with and making the most of it. And she does seem to be doing that, even though, like she acknowledged and attempted to do with a little jury prep that was not well received at this early moment, that, to try to soften some of that.
And Probst didn't help her any by pointing out the whole Mama J thing.
Yes and no. It gives her an opportunity to get ahead of it. And the reality is, with this reduced time window that they're doing with the so short, that things are happening fast. They actually have only a week left in the game at this point. It's going to take several weeks for us to get there, but it's happening really fast for them. Thanks, Yazz. Next up, we got a call from Drew-n-Charlie.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. So I've been just kind of behind this season. Like, I watch the episode when I can. Sometimes it's like on Saturday or Sunday night. But this morning, actually had a little bit of downtime at home for the first weekend in a little while. So Charlie and I just sat in the bed and watched the episode. And here's how it went down, okay? I'm pretty sure I had Julie, Jake, and Drew all safe and Bruce to go. So I was about to either have a killer 5-point week or I was just going to lose double. So we know how that turned out. But yeah, Charlie and I don't usually get to watch the whole episode together, so that was really fun too. What did you think of it, Charlie? Cool. Thought it was cool? What did you think of the challenges? What was the first challenge? You had to do like that obstacle course, and what was at the end?
Maze.
Was the maze easy, do you think, or hard?
Hard, yeah.
What was the second challenge, the immunity challenge?
The bars.
The bars?
The bars.
The slide? There's a slide where they had to hold on to the bars on the edge, right? And Keturah was really scared of the water for some reason, which, did I miss something? Was that like something that has been spoken of before? I feel like that kind of surprised me that suddenly she had this dread of the water. I guess I never thought that she's been in or out of the water, but it was a nice moment, I guess.
Yeah, she swam back.
Yeah, she swam back, so she knows how to swim. Like, maybe it was just like she just doesn't like to be deep into the water. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe you guys have some insight. I actually haven't listened to the recap yet because we just finished it. We're about to go on some errands, get some new snow tires. We've been getting some snow already. Do a few other things. But I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I hope that everyone's having a good weekend. Yeah, I'm really excited to see. I cannot believe Emily pulled it off. Like, I feel like she's gearing up to a really solid case for the finals. That was pretty epic. I thought for sure he was going to play it. I thought for sure, no matter what, he was going to play it. And then
Me too.
I watched those votes come in and the little celebration. I'm kind of on Team Jake, pretty seriously on Team Jake right now, too. So anyway, talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Charlie.
Yep, me too.
Next up, we got a call from David. To answer your question, no, there was nothing previously about Keturah having a fear of water or anything like that. I think one thing that was different about that challenge is they were out in deep water. It was seriously out. It wasn't like they were right there just off the beach.
Well, I also wondered if she didn't have a fear of falling, that sensation of falling into the water like that. And, just not being in control.
Yeah, we had seen her in the water previously, and she was adept. And you did see, like Charlie was saying, when she did start swimming, she actually had good form. She had a good freestyle form, better than some of the other people.
Well, and like she said, I worked at this,
yes.
The swimming.
Put the time in. Yep, you could see.
But, fear's fear.
Yeah.
Whatever sets it off.
Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. And I have to admit, I almost didn't call in this week. I'm just sort of in a muddle, and I'll explain. But the only reason I'm calling is that I knew that if I didn't call in, you two would be so disappointed that you might not even post a listener feedback post this week. Wow. So I want the rest to be heard, so here I am. I have to say, I like the theatrics of what happened at Tribal Council, but I'm just so confused by the way the game is being played. I keep thinking, is this bad gameplay versus strategic gameplay? What's actually happening here? And okay, let's start with Bruce. Obviously, bad gameplay. We've seen how he is one of the players with the least amount of perception of what the others think. And you could see that when he didn't play his idol and when he got voted out, the jury, the rest of the teammates were all cheering. So Bruce, bad move. You should have played it. There was no reason not to play it at this tribal council. But then let's go with the next bad move. Jake, if Bruce had played it, you would have been gone. So I don't see what's happening with these players. The Reba 4 are calling the shots, and the rest are just following along. Emily is talking about tonight's the night to make a big move. Okay, the big move was to take out Bruce, who everybody wanted out, and you think you're going to get credit for it? Maybe you will. Maybe you will. You convinced him that he was safe, but everybody else can take credit, too, for how they played the game. Right. So now we've got 7. And if the old Rebas stick together, they can be the ones going into the Final Four and then see what happens. If they do try to change the plan now, then I would say they're making a bad play. Because once again, the other 3 have nowhere to go if Reba gives up their lead. So easiest move, take out Jake. And if he wins immunity, take out Keturah. And again, we've been seeing a Pagonging the past couple of weeks. Going to continue. Not the best season. Still enjoying it, but I'm still waiting for a big move. And the only big move I've seen is with getting Kelly out. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks, David. Quite selfless of you. We appreciate that you pushed ahead and made a contribution for everyone else this week.
He described exactly how I felt after the episode.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, since Bruce has acknowledged and given that to Emily.
Credit to Emily for making him feel comfortable
I
not
maybe
to play.
Can see some benefit to her for doing it, but
everyone, like David also said, everyone played a part in that.
Yeah, true. But the part she played was the key. She got him not to play his idol to feel safe enough not to play the idol. The others didn't do that.
Well, I mean, so great. Jake's in her debt in that regard, but the others could care less. I think it's going to be easy to diminish that, too. It just does not seem, given what we've been provided, it does not seem as significant as she told us it was. And I think that's part of the problem, too, of Probst in this podcast episode this week, was really proud of how they played all this out. He's really proud about the Guys Night moment and told us that they spent a ton of money to get one of the actual songs that was in Top Gun. I think the original one, The Boys Night. Yeah. Yeah, he was all about, so he's really proud of doing that and paying the extra money for that. And they have been paying a lot for songs, like for the commercials. This one was obviously in the episode, but they've had a lot of pop star songs in the commercials this season. Anyway, and he really liked how they basically edited that. So it was the telling of, and that's actually contrary to everything they teach you about, show, don't tell for good storytelling. But we didn't get the show part, so we just don't know how well it's received or how she was able to do that. We just got the telling part. Again, the candy-coated shell.
Alrighty.
Thanks, David. Next up, we got an email from Barry in Mississippi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. I think I have watched nearly every season of Survivor, and I've never really noticed before, but are the survivors wearing microphones or perhaps health monitoring equipment?
It's mics.
Mics, yeah.
Wireless microphones, yeah.
The reason I ask is, what the heck was that black band around Jake's belly that was revealed in the slant board challenge? Too thick for the underwear waistband that gave out, and there seems to be wire or tube with it. Insulin pump? I assume a microphone?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sure it was. A couple of times I saw a square device underneath clothes on Kendra's back.
Yeah, that's where you see them most often is on the women, because
Yeah.
they'll put them in the back of their bras or their tops, yeah.
Are these survivors wired for sound, or have they always been?
Yes, and
Yes.
pretty much yes.
Yes. I've also noticed that Jake has stopped passing out since he has not had the opportunity to steal a glance down Kendra's shirt.
Oh, jeez.
I am pretty
Barry.
sure that is what got him the first time.
Yeah, not the smoke, huh?
Yeah.
Or the low blood pressure.
Thank you for all you do. I spend every Sunday morning with my Survivor tribe.
Oh, I like that.
All right. Thanks, Barry. Up next, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and I'm infuriated at these players. They are so dumb. They're so stupid. What are you doing? For once, Bruce was the smartest player here. All right? How does that happen? What is going on? You guys are playing Survivor. It is the final 8. This is do or die. The likelihood that the status quo is gonna change at final 7 or 6 or 5, very, very low. Being an alliance of 4 in modern Survivor, really, since the fire making challenge was a thing, being an alliance of 4, pretty good. You don't really need to turn on anybody. You just need to get to the fire making challenge and be like, all right, whatever happens, happens. So Reba doesn't have to worry about that. They don't have to worry about, all right, who's the one that we're going to vote at 4? They can be like, all right, we've done this thing. How do people not think about this? And if they are thinking about this, maybe act on it. Maybe just don't talk about it and make like a really good plan. Obviously, Julie's not like the number one choice. Obviously, we were all thinking D. That's the best option. Maybe Drew is next. Julie, sure, why not? She's probably the 4th on the list of people that you should vote out. But sure, why not? Why not? And I was sitting there and I was thinking during tribal, and I'm like, oh, Bruce is smart, man. Yeah, hold on to that idol, because pardon me for assuming, I guess, I definitely did. I thought, maybe Jake, Katora, and Emily are gonna put on their grown-up pants, suck it up with Bruce for a little bit, because perhaps $1 million is worth spending some time with somebody who's just a little bit annoying. What are we doing? You guys are just handing the Reba 4 $1 million. It doesn't matter which one wins. Which I'm very disappointed in Jake. I'm so disappointed in Jake because I relate to Jake so much. I love what Jake is saying, and I hate every time I listen to the feedback show or any other podcast and people are calling Jake a goat, because absolutely not. You get out of here with that talk. Do not disrespect my boy like that, because Jake is the only one with the freaking brains, man, except for the way he voted tonight. But he's the only one that's looking around like, man, we got to do something. We're all sitting around like idiots. Come on, use me. And I'm, yes. And and I feel like in those confessionals, he's talking to Emily because Emily's the one that I want to hear that. I'm like, yes, Emily, use them. Use the bottom feeders. Make something happen because you got actual power. The rest of those bellows got nothing. I know it's going to take a lot to get them to work with each other, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. Nothing frustrates me more than watching people play safe on this show. This game that I love so dearly because I want to play this game. And I just, I can feel it. I can feel that I'm going to end up in a Jake position. And I'm going to be the Charlie Brown that gets the ball kicked out from under them. And that's why it breaks my heart. And that's why watching that, I sympathize so much because I care. I don't want to see people play safe. That's all I got. I will see you guys next time.
I like that Parker passion.
Parker, you just called your boy a bottom feeder.
Well, he wants more for him, but he's pragmatic about how he's playing, even noting who he voted for. So, good stuff. Thanks, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Kim from North Carolina. I've been thinking the last couple of weeks that this crew has figured out that the people who are playing that in the middle game are actually a threat to win the game. So they've gone after some of those people, for example, Kelly, and then I thought maybe Kendra, but maybe she didn't really have a chance to win after all. So this week they took out Bruce. I really don't think he would have won had he made it to the final three, but I can understand with his performance in the individual challenges why they thought they wanted to get him out. I don't understand why there isn't a move to get rid of Dee, Austin, or Drew, but maybe it's because we can see that they're really tight, but the other contestants don't know that. I think Emily looks really good after this week, and perhaps if she can discern the Drew, Austin, Dee connection, she can convince the other people to vote one of them off. Because if they don't do something about the Rebas, everybody's in trouble who's not a Reba, right? I think Emily's best chance is to get with all the people who aren't Dee, Austin, and Drew and vote one of them out. Or maybe split the vote between two of those people. I don't really know how they're going to do that without getting caught, but that is what I would like to see happen. I don't think Katurah has a chance to win. I don't think Jake has a chance to win. So I wouldn't spend a vote on them. I'm having a feeling that I'm repeating myself from a previous feedback, so I apologize if that's the case. I was out of the loop listening to the feedback and the recaps for the last week and a half or so, but thanks for listening and take care, everybody.
Thanks, Kim. I don't remember it as a repeat or anything like that. And certainly we wanted them to make a move. This last cycle would have been the right place to do it. But if you can get one of the Reba 4 to break away from the pack, then you do have another opportunity here at 7. But that window's rapidly closing. Thanks, Kim. Next up, got a call from Justin.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the super fans. This is Justin from Michigan. I was relieved listening to the recap that I wasn't the only one confused about Emily's mindset in this episode. I too felt like we were missing pieces of strategy when she talked about making a move in her confessionals. I'm a little confused why they were all saying Dee is untouchable and off the table for this vote. If Emily, Bruce, Katurah, and Jake all would have voted for Dee, or Julie or Drew for that matter, that target would have gone home the way that it all played out. That's the big move I thought Emily was referring to, taking out one of the Rebas, but instead it was the easy target of Bruce, only going home with an elaborate misdirect with an idol in his pocket. Now that Bruce is gone, I can honestly say I mostly like everyone left in the game and would actually be happy with any of them winning. I think I could formulate a path in my head for each. Even Jake, who nobody seems to be taking all that seriously as a player, got some reactions from the jury, specifically Kelly, and may be more liked for his scrappiness and personality than we are seeing. Hopefully I don't owe any rent for occupying the basement of the side challenge for a few weeks in a row now. I'm fine chilling out there a little longer, as long as I can get my final 5 order right at the end to redeem myself. For what it's worth, I currently have Drew as my vote off for next week, but there are so many ways it could go. The Reba 4 could stick together to target Emily, Katurah, or Jake, or one or two of them could finally break apart and turn on one of the Rebas, which is what I'm predicting will happen to Drew. Did they show for sure if Austin got his idol back from Julie? That could add some excitement if she chooses to hold on to it to make a move. They did show her saying she was going to Rogue in the preview. Excited to see how it all shakes out and to hear what everyone else has to say. Thanks for everything.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you had mentioned that.
Well, it was when I was working editing Justin.
Oh,
This was the
okay.
one
Well,
that
you came in and mentioned that.
Yeah, and I said Justin's got a theory. Yeah, and that's why I called it out earlier too, is we don't know for sure that Austin has both of them. So if
Right.
she's still holding it and that is her rogue, then
And he gave it to her. He put it in her bag, so she's not taking it from him, I
Right.
don't think. I think
so it was legally hers at that point.
yeah, at least in our minds. So I'm assuming
No, that's how it works.
the
It's not
case,
just
so-
our minds. He gave it up, turned it over to her.
Well, you would have thought he would have got it back by now.
And we haven't seen anything. So to Justin's point again, that could be the basis for the rogueness. That's
could
a
be.
excellent probable answer.
Yes,
and that
it
could
is.
be how she could break away. So maybe we can grasp at straws again and hope that the
Good
Emily
job, Justin.
and the Bellows could move, could shake things up with Julie's
I don't
help.
know. I'm so tired of all this stuff going through my brain. I'm probably just going to put Jake.
Yeah, that's certainly the most likely one. But at least
Of course, you know I won't. I'll do something.
Justin's given us another path to consider, and so that one,
Hey.
I'm going to grab onto that again. We should have known that since Emily's not good with math in the moment, that she couldn't, in the course of a day, work out the fact that they needed to pull together to target someone other than Bruce.
Oh, I don't see it that way, but it was a choice.
Thanks, Justin. Next up, got a call from Jill.
Hi, Joanne, Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill in the Outback here. It's a crazy busy time of year for us, but we've just wound down now, so I can finally get some feedback in. I've missed the last few weeks. I was a bit down on the season early on because of all the quits and nothing really seemed to be happening, but the last few weeks have been great. I didn't think that they would be able to top the Jeff stabbing the bag of rice, but this week when they had all the blokes were left at camp and they had that little montage with the song, oh, that made me laugh. They did that so well. I reckon I can be a sucker sometimes. I believed Bruce fully when he started talking about Kelly, how she took his idol last week and she got voted out. I believed it hook, line and sinker. But it appears I'm not the biggest sucker of all time because Bruce didn't play his idol. I won't be the only person this week astounded that he didn't play it. After having his head on the chopping block for the last couple of weeks, he goes and thinks that he's safe. It was the craziest decision ever. I wonder what Katura will have to talk about now that Bruce is gone.
Right.
Jake must be living on borrowed time, and if he does somehow make it to the end, he'll only be there as a goat. I hope Austin and Dee don't get too wrapped up in each other and forget how to play the game. Emily, no one would have believed us at the start of the season if we'd said this is where Emily is at this stage of the game. She's doing really well. That'll do for this week. Thanks so much, Joanne, Stacey. Happy days, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Jill. Happy days. Yeah, that's Emily's story is that. If nothing else, it's that. The mere fact that she's still there, given all the things that happened in that tribe and everything that's happened since then. Yeah.
Yeah, truly.
Her resume is just a survivor.
Because when you look at the roster, and, the first 4 votes were from her tribe, and there was only her and Caleb left.
Mm-hmm.
And then Caleb's on the jury. She's the only one from Lulu that's still in there.
Yeah. Okay, next up, we got an email from Josh, the plush moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacey, we're down to 7. The Reba 4 drives the steamroller and 3 more bumps stand in their way. Here are my other observations. Drew, the comic strip character with the rain cloud, isn't Charlie Brown. It's Joe, and I don't know how to say that.
BTFSPOK.
I don't even know how to say that. Yeah.
Is that a misspell? We didn't know.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't catch
I don't
it.
get it. So
It's another character. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought initially Pigpen, but Pigpen is the dirt storm, not the rain cloud.
Yeah, okay.
So Joe BTLS. I can't even come up with something. Bruce regaled the tribe with tales of his time in the Navy. He served under Captain Crunch. There's an old DC Comics villain who cries when doing evil. He's called the Weeper. Emily says Bruce only wants to protect his butt. He needs a better pair of pants. First Matt and Franny, now Austin and Dee. Is this Survivor or the dating game? Indeed. Austin said that he was like looking for a showmance even before the season started. He was open to it.
Well,
and he's also a huge fan of Coach. So this guy.
Is it a true romance or are they playing each other? We don't know that yet.
Yeah, we don't know yet. That's
and
true.
I mean, they're both good-looking young people. I mean, come on. It's easy to be attracted to that.
But taking that risk out there. Well, they seem to be doing.
Well, they seem to be.
All of them seem to be doing
hiding,
really good. Yeah. Although Kendra said she was onto them and had shared that. Okay, let's continue. Bruce, testing a lie on Couture is like testing new galoshes in a tsunami. Jeff didn't mention cranberry sauce or veggies. I'll give his Thanksgiving meal a pass. Couture said nobody believes Bruce. Which one's nobody? Jake, Drew, or Austin? I think even she did. I don't believe her when she told him she didn't believe it, because she certainly looked like she believed it.
No, I think she did believe it at first.
Yeah, and because she's not going to give him anything, she told him, of course I didn't believe you.
No, but I do think she did.
The women read their letters, then discuss them over wine. Sounds like a book club.
Sure.
Jake manipulated the table mace controls like a frustrated toddler. He did. He's just no fine motor control. Yeah, the toddler again. He's out on the playground. This game doesn't work. Emily shook so much after her win that I thought she'd join the Shakers and make a chair. Oh, that's bad. Oh, the guys reenacted the Blazing Saddles campfire scene. Sans chili. Oh, there was that part too. So Blazing Saddles and Top Gun. What will Couture do with herself now that Bruce is gone? Yeah, that's the big question we're all wondering about. I laughed so hard during the Top Gun montage. Okay. Drew embedding with the bros reminded me of Jane Goodall studying the chimpanzees. Jake has imposter syndrome. He took the swim fins, but didn't try to catch any fish. That's good. Way to tie those together. I like that. If I'd been sent to Fiji while my partner handled our move-in, I'd want to marry them too. That's the real win, huh?
Yeah.
Mopey sad sack Jake has a background in theater. Could he be Kaiser Sose? I don't think he's been acting these other times, but that's good. I like that turn. Emily would make a great Romulan fighting nun. They strive for absolute candor, too. Wow, Emily is a Romulan. That totally works. Yeah. Normally, work husbands or wives don't plot your demise. Oh, made it rhyme, too. Emily won't blow up her spot. Unlike a certain super genius, she doesn't shop at Acme. Jake said Drew was feeding him M&Ms. Were they leftovers from Drew's auction haul? I don't think I'd want to try the sliding ponds of doom. Jake's Dunzo? Sounds like the perfect nickname for a mobster goon to have. Is there something in Fiji's ocean water that induces panic attacks? Drew is so tall, his feet were almost in the water while he was still on the slant board. The ladies all slid off first. Must have been the tryptophan from the turkey dinner. Yeah, they should have been pumped up the most to be able to handle all that, huh? Bruce didn't want Jake to go home. Wish granted. Survivor is a sick, twisted, disgusting, ridiculously delicious, enjoyable, terrifying game, and players are drawn to it like flies to a Venus flytrap. Jake, if anyone should feel dumb, it's went home with an idol in his pocket, Bruce. The more I hear about Mama, the more I think of Yo Mama jokes. Bruce hit the Survivor wall like a bug in a hurricane. Jake thinks that not being a pariah is better than being one. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Kendra, good news, bad news. Bruce is out, but you'll have to spend the next week with him. You know your lawyer's an imposter if he's wearing a t-shirt with a tie painted on it. Next time Reba implodes, Julie goes rogue, and a showmance blossoms, will Austin and Dee romber their way to $1 million? I like that. I like the Rob and Amber reference.
And Amber, yeah.
Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, everybody. It's Jeremiah here. back with some feedback for this week's episode after missing last week, and man, what a doozy. Oh my goodness. Seeing Bruce get blindsided with an idol in his pocket. Oh my goodness, I did not see that coming. I know a lot of people didn't see that coming. Bruce, my man, come on now. If there's any moment in Survivor history where, using an idol is wise, it's now. There was the writing was all over the wall. I understand what position he was in. I understand the risks there. I know what he was hoping for, but take that secure thing and hope that you win immunity next week, or maybe you find another idol. Just get through a few more days. That's what this game's all about in the end. Very frustrating for him, I'm sure. Great television for us to watch. That is one thing I always enjoy, of course. I will admit, though, I'm just glad I didn't have him safe after picking him safe the last few times around. So, dodged a bullet there for sure. All right, so really this episode, I thought it was very interesting. A lot of the different narrative that the editors chose. You guys mentioned the whole Emily thing. Did find that kind of fascinating that she got full credit for the blind side. We spent so much time with Katurah wanting Bruce out, but then when Bruce finally goes, the editors want us to think Emily was fully the reason for it. And maybe she was. I do think Bruce probably trusted her the most, and she probably was the one who convinced him, of course, to go ahead and go with this plan for voting on Julie and not use the idol. So I get it. I just find that very fascinating. So what is going to be Emily's overall narrative? I figured she was going to be fifth out, but now I'm starting to wonder, can she make it to the end? Boy, I sure would love that story if she was our winner. Oh, that'd be so much fun. Don't think it's going to happen. I still think it's D, but man, boy, that'd be a great thing to end. Another thing, too, the whole thing with Jake. Boy, that was fascinating. Just so much on Jake about how he just doesn't know what's going on in the game and all this stuff. Makes me wonder, is he like a final three finalist that doesn't get any votes? Very possible. Just thought that was kind of fascinating. So, yeah, a lot of good moments in this episode. Very entertaining for sure. But the big question on our mind now is what is going to happen next week? Well, I tell you, I've been thinking a lot about this. So obviously, the wondering, will the Reba 4 get broken up? Well, I knew they're trying to lean us in a direction. I thought at some point they will. 7 is the time to do it. I would definitely think that the just Julie or Drew thing is very possible. So I am thinking about that as potential, one of those going out. I would lean towards maybe Drew being the one that goes out, but that should be interesting. And obviously, Katurah and Jake is definitely on the chopping block for sure. So it's either going to be probably one of the Jake or Katurah or maybe Drew. So I just need to, decide which direction I want to go. But that's kind of where I'm leaning towards at the moment. Maybe Drew. All right. Well, anyway. All right. So that's it for me. You guys take care. And until next week, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. So at the beginning of the episode, Julie is struggling with the treachery of the game. And I'm with you, Stacy. I don't think Drew is as sincere as he is trying to make himself out to be. He is such a cerebral player, narrating the game and pulling out vocabulary words such as Sword of Damocles. I have a hard time believing that those tears were authentic. I really liked the reward challenge, lots of different activities culminating in the ball maze, and Emily wins. I'm really happy for her. She has really made a turnaround, and this is not what I thought I'd be saying at this point in the season. So she chooses Julie to go along with her, and we have Talk Show Jeff. If there was going to be a move on the Reba 4, this was, I think, the episode to do it. But Katurah blowing up Bruce's plan to lie about his idol at the sanctuary just hammered home Emily's point that Bruce, Katurah, and Jake cannot work together. So the women bonded at the sanctuary, and the bro-out sequence back at camp was so funny. You had the Top Gun music, you had the slow-motion shots, you had the posing. Crazy. So funny. The conversation between Jake and Drew was very interesting. I liked that Jake stood his ground when Drew flat out told him he had no influence in the game. Drew does not like to be disagreed with, and I feel like he kind of drops his facade when this happens, and he becomes very abrasive. At least that's what I've kind of been seeing subtly, I liked this new immunity challenge. It was simple, and I loved how Jake called out Probst for commenting that this is something you might see at a carnival. What carnival? I thought Jeff's interaction with Katurah during the challenge was very interesting, and it was interesting insight into how the challenges are run and maybe what questions might be asked of Jeff before the challenges are run. We found out that there are rescue divers in the water. Maybe some of you have assumed that. I never assumed that. That was new news to me. And when he told her that she didn't have to slide into the water if she didn't want to, she could just turn and jump off the ramp. All very interesting information. At least I thought so. I found the tribal council conversations that delved into all of the uncertainty in the game and how that affects different players to be very interesting as well. And Bruce goes home with an idol in his pocket. And what is fascinating to me is that Keturah, Jake, Emily, and Julie all voted together. And if they really wanted to, they could have taken out Drew, Austin, or Dee. Or Julie could have taken out her target, Jake. The fact that the Reba crew made themselves vulnerable like that is so fascinating and confusing, and I have so many questions about that. It worked out for them, but what a risk, and I wonder if they did that on purpose or whether that was just something they didn't really realize was happening. Like, did they know the Bruce vote was happening? I guess we'll find out. Anyway, great episode. I can't wait to hear everyone else's thoughts and ideas. That's it from me. Till next week.
Thanks, Jen. You know, there was her question about the safety divers. Yeah, we had seen information about
we knew about
that before. There was a great long-form write-up that Dalton Ross did. I think it was back during the pandemic. And it was all the behind-the-scenes where they were, like, going across all the different departments and giving details. And I want to say that was in there, although I'd known that for a while, it seems like, too. But every once in a while, you'll get tidbits like that and Probst interviews, and then in that one that Dalton Ross did. Highly recommended reading if you like that kind of stuff. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here, and I hope I can get this out while there's a break in the horrific storms we've been having here. The shocking part of this is that we haven't lost power yet today, because out here in the boonies, or the edge of nowhere as I like to call it, our power will disappear with just the slightest twinge of excitement in the air. Anyway, I see I have just 3 things listed in my notes, and yeah, that's it. First off, I have written down, poor Jake, thank you for not voting me out. Yeah, it's a sad commentary on your gameplay, game, when you continually have to thank people for allowing you to stay in the game. To me, it just says that you know that you're not contributing anything worthwhile, but that you're not even worth the time and effort to be voted off. I guess that's a long-winded way for me to say, go. And then I have a comment about Bruce and his bizarre idea to make people think that he doesn't have an idol anymore. I guess so that they can put all their votes on him, leaving his vote to determine the player that's voted off? But come on, Bruce. Do you really think they'd all pile on you like that without having some sort of a backup plan in place? After a while, I figured they just didn't want to waste playing his idol if he didn't have any votes thrown his way, so he was going to manufacture those votes himself. Well, touché, Bruce. Job well done. And my last scribble here is about Jeff and how he interacted with Keturah. What the heck? It's like he wanted her to not go in the water after the challenge by offering her different ways to get back to shore. What happened to the Jeff that encouraged people to leave their comfort zones and push themselves beyond what they think they can do? Okay, so that eventually came out of him in the end, but offering her a ride in the boat? Really? I was just shocked and even sort of offended at what I was hearing at first. So I guess Tribal's next, and as we headed into it, I was so anxious to see what would happen. I had Emily to go, and I was sure that wasn't going to happen, but Tribal was a blast. Watching these people play Bruce was amazingly fun, and I thought, yeah, he's still going to play his idol. He's not that naive about things. People voted, I'm literally on the edge of my seat, and then Jeff says, if you have an idol, now is the time to... And then the TV in the house went black. Nothing. And all you can hear was the two of us yelling, no! But it was just a short outage, however, and when the power came back on, we got to see Bruce walking away to be on the jury. Anyway, we watched the end of Tribal the next day, so at least we live in a world now where you don't just get one shot at seeing something, right? So I guess that brings me to Emily. Did she orchestrate, and does she get credit for Bruce's demise? You know, at first I thought so, but it's an on-the-fence type sort of thing for me now. Yeah, she reiterated an idea that we heard plenty of times before, and one that would have happened during the last Tribal, or even the one before, had Bruce not won immunity both times. It was always on the table, but yeah, Keturah was the one who pointed out and insisted that the majority of votes go towards Bruce. So I don't think Emily is going to get as much credit for this move as she thinks she will. I guess we'll see how our players read it next week. I suspect that Jake will be around a while longer. Again, GOAT. But also because people know it's time to make big moves. Will Julie flip sides? I suspect so, because she says she's going rogue. Will Austin repeat Bruce's mistake and try to keep his idols? I hope not. So that leaves Drew or Dee as Julie's possible targets. I'd pick Drew since Jake isn't feeling all that friendly towards him, but then they showed that preview of Austin and Dee hugging, so maybe Dee? If Julie can comfort Austin into not playing his idols and manages to get him out, holy crow, what a move. And I guess that's it for Undecisive Paul this week. I'll catch y'all next week after Tribal. Bye.
Thanks, Undecisive Paul.
If Julie were really had her thinking cap on, I think she would go after Austin and blindside him to get the idols out.
Since she appears to have less of a connection to him than
Yes.
she does to Drew.
Well, and her connection is to Dee, right?
And Drew.
And if she's, well, yeah, Dee and Drew, but and also Austin, but lesser seems like. But I think her number one, and she thinks probably final two would be her and Dee.
They played the whole game together, yeah.
My point being that if she's seeing this relationship get tighter between Austin and Dee, she might feel like she needs to get Austin out of the way, that it might interfere with Dee's thinking, and it would be good to nip that in the bud.
There's no way that she's only now discovering that.
No, but it's starting to ramp up a little from what they're showing us.
Right. So what's your thought? Who's going next? Is the Pagonging going to continue?
I don't know why I had it this week, and I'm still wanting to put Drew down. I don't know why.
That's true. You were saying that a lot.
I kept thinking, no, it's going to be Drew. It's going to be Drew. He's starting to become a pain in the rear end.
There's data here to back that up this time with the next on, with it making it look like he's going after Julie and Julie saying she's going rogue. So
yeah,
you're not just going off your gut.
Yeah.
All right, so you're thinking Drew.
My gut's better than my confused brain.
I think that they're going to send Katurah to go spend more time with Bruce.
But there is that part of me that just wants to go, oh, they'll probably just vote Jake off. I'll just put Jake.
Or Katurah.
But I want them to do something. Well, I think they would go after Jake first. She seems even like further out there than Jake, though they're both seem to have no allies. Not even each other. They don't seem to even work well with each other.
Well, you remember Katurah wasn't that keen on Jake to begin with because he's a lawyer after all.
Well, yeah. And
she had Kelly and Kendra turned against Jake from the drop.
And she's already betrayed him once.
Yeah.
With the Caleb boat. So I can't blame him for not wanting to get burned again. So there's no trust there for sure.
Yeah, I want to think that something's going to happen and the Reba 4 is going to do it, and Justin's idea about Julie going rogue with the idol she didn't give back, that's tantalizing, but right now I think there's some kind of poetic justice to sending Katurah to spend time with Bruce.
So is that your choice?
Right now, yeah, I think mainly just because I find it funny.
Okay.
All that time that she spent trying to get rid of him, then she has to follow him right out of the game. That's only fitting. And that's the only thing they've given us. That's like the definition of her until they had the fear episode.
Well, I don't know that she and Jake really have a whole lot of options unless someone else really does decide.
It depends on at this point, they've mucked that up so bad that now you got to wait on the Reba 4 to turn on themselves to have a window of opportunity.
I do think that was a large part why I just felt such disappointment, because I was so sure that they were going to make a big move that would alter the game noticeably and break up the Reba 4.
It's obvious to us. How come you guys couldn't get your act together and do something?
Yeah, I'm not sure things are as obvious out there.
Definitely not. Not.
What they're seeing.
And again, they're moving a lot faster than
because it does look like a lot of the Reba 4 are hiding things even among themselves. somewhat. So I guess we'll find out more as the weeks go. Though I'm looking forward to Wednesday to find out where's Emily planning to go. What is she thinking now?
What's the next step in your master plan?
Yeah. And how did she get everybody to, well, it was pretty easy to get everybody to go for Bruce. But
well, that's the other thing. She doesn't get a lot of. It's like, congratulations, you got him not to play the idol, but everyone took part in this, and everyone's been wanting. It's not. There's no way it's as significant as she seemed to think it was.
I don't think it would have. Well, there might have been harder feelings though if she'd have broke up the Final Four. But anyway, regardless, I do think in hindsight that she will get more credit than I initially thought, because Bruce is saying that he gives her the credit for him not playing. She was the one that made him comfortable enough not to play it.
Maybe. It was like a foregone conclusion he was going to go unless he won his way to the end. Everyone wanted it. Everyone took part. Everyone celebrated it. Is she really going to get that much credit? And how much are they going to value him saying, oh, she's the one that convinced me? Is that really going to be what pushes it over if she somehow made it to Final Three and was presenting her case that Bruce endorsed her? I don't think so.
We don't know yet.
That's true.
And I don't know if Bruce was that clear with himself when he was out there. Maybe he's come to that realization after he's gotten home and had time to relax and think about it, and oh no, it was Emily, and now he's giving her. We don't know if he was giving her credit out there, just angry at her.
Yeah, it struck me as just a little odd that I didn't get that clear indication from him in 2 of the 3 interviews, only in the Gordon Holmes interview. And I include links to those interviews in the show notes so you guys can find them. I'll try to find that behind-the-scenes thing Dalton Ross wrote up years ago and include it, too, for the people who are interested in seeing mic packs and didn't know about the underwater safety divers and all the other stuff.
And the website.
The crew behind the production of all this, and the reason Probe says he will continue to do it as long as he can work with this group of people, is hundreds. I think they've been over 400 at times.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and the website where you can find those links, getsfp.com.
Right, and usually within whatever you're watching, there'll be show notes. Not watching, listening, whatever your podcast listener is, whether it's YouTube or Spotify or iTunes, any of the podcast apps. Yeah.
Which you still list as Twitter.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It's like,
everyone thinks of it that way, and you have to take the extra step to say X, previously known as Twitter. I don't know. Just say Twitter. That whole thing's so stupid. What a mess.
Or just say X.
Okay. Thanks to everyone who took the time to share their thoughts and predictions with us today. That was awesome. You guys did a great job. We enjoyed it. We appreciate hearing from everybody. And do you want to say something? You motioned.
There was someone who sent in something to us. You had asked people to let us know they're listening, and someone had sent in something. So just wanted to say thanks for sending that in.
Yeah, we appreciate and enjoy getting to hear from people just like that. Even if you're not trying to be part of the listener feedback show and you just want to say, hey, I'm here, I'm listening. So
yeah,
we appreciate that. Thank you for answering the call. And we want to say a super big thanks to Hazel, Erica, and Christy for your subscription donations this month. We greatly appreciate your support. That helps us with our operating costs, which just keep rolling every month. But the great thing about that is that you're contributing and making sure that people, like years from now, potentially, someone comes across the podcast right now, they can go back to all the episodes going all the way back to 2005 and listen.
Yeah, somebody just sent us something that said, it showed us the thing on his phone that said, watched 186 episodes in 6 hours and 21 minutes of the podcast.
Yeah, it was just sharing the raw stats of how much they've been listening.
Okay.
So, Yeah, contributing those operating costs helps make sure the back catalog's available for everyone too. Thank you for that.
I could never do that. Okay, and if you're playing JSFL, don't forget to make your Week 11 picks for one person voted off and 4 people you think will still be safe at the end of the episode. And there is only 3 more weeks.
Yep, we are in December now. Go figure.
Wow. Yeah, now this is the time really where your safe picks are
Gets tricky.
in play.
Depending on how well you've managed it.
Yep,
You can only
yep,
pick
yep.
someone to be safe 6 times.
And sometimes that even determines my vote out choice.
Yes, it does. All
Anything
right.
else?
Nope, we'll be back here on Wednesday. Looking forward to it. Have a good one.